Just reviewing the weekend, I was really pleased with our crowd. Our crowd was amazing. Our players fed off the energy of our home crowd, and we love playing at home in Canvas, and we've worked really hard to play well here, and we want to continue that. We got an opportunity to play one more home game this season in Canvas, and we want to finish really strong. I mentioned last week it's really important for us as a program to improve this time of year, and I thought the San Diego State was a good measuring stick for us as a team. I have high regard for them. I know their record isn't what they want it to be, but they're a very difficult team to play. They play a difficult defensive scheme, and I was proud of how our kids handled that on the most part. Braden did a nice job of understanding the game, of understanding the run checks, and we did a much better job on third down this week than we did a week ago, and that was important in the game. We ran the football effectively, and really proud of Justin Marshall as a true freshman, his first opportunity to play. Having over 100 yards in his debut is really a special thing, and those explosive runs really gave us a shot in the arm. Defensively, we had a lot of guys play hard. Henry Blackburn, Mo Camara got another sack and a safety. Chase Wilson played well. Marshawn Oxley continues to improve and make an impact on defense, and another young player that has shown a lot of progress. There was a lot of good in the game. There was some bad. I was not happy with the penalties, and that's an area we've got to address, and we have to be better. Selfish penalties there's no excuse for us to do those, and our kids got to understand and grow up in that regard, and that's going to hurt us. It's going to bite us if we don't correct that. But overall, pleased with the ability for us to find a way to win, and we have to press on now this week and build on that performance, and we have to play better. We're playing a football team this week in Nevada that's a proud program. Obviously I was there. I understand the pride and the tradition they have and their history there, and regardless of what their record is, we're going to get the best effort from that team Saturday, and so we have to be on top of our game. Still know a lot of the kids there. We recruited several of them they're key players, and I know that it will be a big challenge for our football team this weekend. I avoided talking about Nevada last year, but I just do want to say this. When you are a head coach at a place for 5 years, you have some special relationships with people, and the relationships that I had with so many people there, Rick Revilio and Bridget Pierce and Father Bob at Our Lady of Snows, just very special relationships. James Kitchen, Keith Lee, Lonnie Fixel. There's so many great people there. Paul Mitchell. And so, those things don't die. You don't lose those things. Coach Alt's very special to me. I know he's said some things since I've left, but it's very special to me. And President Sandoval, they're tremendous people. So I have a lot of respect for that university. But when we line up Saturday, it's going to be about our players and their players and who is the most prepared and who does the best job at 1 o'clock on Saturday. And we realize that, a lot has been talked about, bowl games and all that stuff, and I've been nipping it in the butt. We don't want to hear that word around our facility. There's an old saying that I learned with Coach Holtz. It's what's important now. And what's important now for us is to prepare like a winning football team, and focus on the fundamentals, focus on our Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday preparation, and that's what we're going to revert to on Saturday when we line up and compete. So we're really looking forward to being back home one more time this year and playing in front of our home fans and trying to play our best football.
So last week you did bring up, you presented to them, this is the playoffs for us.
Yep.
Have they embraced that, do you feel?
They have, and there's a sense of urgency around our building from everybody, that we have to survive and advance, and I think that's a good mentality to have, and it keeps your focus present on what you have to do today to prepare yourself for that. And we have certain things that we need to get done on Mondays. We review the game, we talk about special teams, we start getting introduced to the new opponent, and we have to do a great job of that today. We had good meetings today. I got dressed up for practice, and I realized we didn't have practice today, because it was a Victory Monday, but I was ready to go. And but those are things that are important. Tomorrow will be third down, and we have to do a great job of the base plan and third down and high red, and then we'll go. Wednesday will be our normal short yardage and low red day, and so we'll continue on that. But we have to really have great fundamental practices to take care of that.
So you get a boost from Justin Marshall last week in the run game. Vance jumped into the top 10 in rushing in the league. How much more can you build off that, and how big of an important factor will that be moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very important for us to be able to run the ball well situationally and run the ball when we have to run the ball to win games. And we've had a lot of injuries. We lost Kobe. Avery was hurt for several weeks. He's still not really back to 100%. And Van had to carry that load. We had a couple good young freshmen that we've been trying to incorporate in our run game, and we just felt like it was time for Justin. And I thought he played really well. Coach Moses did a good job preparing him for his game, and he played well. He gave us a shot in the arm, had a couple explosive runs that we've been missing from our offense, and I mentioned this before. I just felt like we're gonna improve in the running game as we go on, and it's going to be an important part to us winning games. And it was an important part last year when we played Nevada, and so it'll be important this year as well.
Has Justin earned his way into the game plan this coming weekend?
Yeah, I think he has. He had over 100 yards rushing and really important runs for us, and I think you'll see a lot of Justin this week.
Given the familiarity with the teams, everything last year and how that game went, does it feel a bit like a rivalry, even though it's obviously not traditionally?
We're just so familiar with everybody there and the players, and we recruited so many of those kids, and it's great to see them have success. Monty Johnson and Naki on defense, and Brandon Talton's, I guess he's the all-time leading scorer there at the University at Nevada now, and great kicker. We brought him in as a walk-on. Won a lot of big games with that kid, and so there's a lot of familiarity, and I don't know if all the bad blood was warranted last year, but it really is insignificant to the outcome of the game. The game is going to be played by the players, and we have to be the most prepared team.
Senior day these days is a little odd with some of the COVID decisions
Yeah.
coming, but obviously Mo is a guy that we know it's his last one. What does he mean to you, a guy that you inherited, I guess?
Mo was probably our biggest recruiting job when we took this job. We knew he was a talented pass rusher. And it's interesting when I look at the seniors. We got Chicozy Anusium, Ron Harge. Both of those guys were transfer guys. Tony Pierce transferred from North Dakota State. Matt Thomas from Rutgers. Justin Sanchez. Andrew Cannon came from Nevada. Oliver Jervis came from Monmouth. And then Bobby Lawrence from Missouri. Those kids are all transfer kids. The lone kid that's been here all those years is Mo Kamara. And couldn't be prouder of Mo. I think he's grown as a player so much in the last 2 years. But I'm more proud of him as a leader. You talk about setting an example in practice and preparation and just being relentless with his effort and his physicality. Every day in practice, sets that example, done a great job as a captain, setting the tone. And so I'm just really proud. He's still got 2 games. He's got a chance to be the all-time sack leader at this school, and that's saying something. I mean, Joey Porter went here. So, pretty impressive stuff. And so really excited for him in his last home game, and we want to send him out the right way.
And you've talked about like Oxley and Newer and some of their growth. How much of that traces back to Mo?
We have a talented defensive line, and we have a lot of good young players. Marshawn Oxley, Kennedy McDowell, all our defensive ends, Newer. They see how Mo practices. They see how he prepares, and that passes on to our younger players. And and when you have a good program, your older players teach your younger players how to play, and that's so important.
When you talk about Marshall and him getting more involved, what you like to throw to your backs, you need them to be good in pass pro. Where does he stand in those? How much trust does he have in your
I think he's improved tremendously. I think that's one of the things that keeps some of our younger players off the field is the pass protection is so important in picking up blitzes and it just takes a little time for those young guys to get on top of that. And so and we played a lot of critical games. I mean, let's face it, every game has gone down to the wire, and it's just hard to get those young guys' feet wet. But he's earned the right, obviously, and he was prepared last week, and he really came through in an important game, and he's earned that opportunity. So he's improved in his pass protection and his routes, very, very much so.
To your last 3 games, you've had your defense hold teams below 300 yards. Do you see them trending up, or what are you seeing in your defense that has you encouraged?
I think we're getting better. I think we still that was the more experienced unit on our team, but we have key players that still have not played a lot with our defense. Guys like Don Morris, and he's a really competitive nickel for us and played really hard Saturday. Love the way he competes. But we've had some new guys, Newer, Matt Thomas, Justin Sanchez. We had some new players that are trying to get involved. Dom Jones. These are all new guys. Ron Harge. So we're starting to gel. We're starting to play more the way we envisioned this defense to play, and it's going to be important that we finish on a high note. I can't tell you the how important it is for us to show improvement this week from last week. And for all the things that we want to accomplish as a team, we need to finish strong. And so that means playing better defense. That means being more efficient offensively. It means limiting the penalties. It means taking care of the football. All the things that we talk about. We played really outstanding in special teams, but a couple of things hurt us. We had a couple penalties, and that really affected the field position. The penalties that we had after the scores. We had to kick off, from deep in our territory, and it affected the field position. And so, that was critical, and we've got to do a better job in those areas.
Do you think that what you have been working on in practice the past couple of weeks has been translating into the game?
Yes, I think we have seen much of that translate. And, I got a good friend here. Coach Groh is a good friend of mine visiting us, and Coach was a former head coach of the Jets and Virginia and Wake Forest. But he reminded me, at this time of year, you're either getting better fundamentally or worse, and we always have taken pride in being a team that gets better, and so we really focused on that last week. Blocking fundamental drills, ball security drills, takeaway drills, and then just fundamental pad level and hand placement and all of our run schemes. And so that really paid off. And I say San Diego State's a measuring stick. I mean, you have to block them and tackle them to beat them. And we did a good job of that Saturday night. And so we have to continue to do that. That will be very important this week as well.
When you read off the list of names of seniors, like you talked about it, is that a little snippet to you about how much college football has changed just in the last 3 or 4 years?
Absolutely. Usually when you do senior day, you got guys that have been around you for four years, and you've recruited them and seen them grow up. But this is a great example of how college football has changed. We have 9 players. We only have 1 player that's been here his whole career. And so a lot of these guys have already been through senior day at other schools, and so they're getting their opportunity here at CSU. So, but we're happy to have them. You know, I do need to say a couple things. You know, Oliver Jervis and Andrew Cannon, as offensive linemen here, I couldn't be more proud of them. You know, we've had the same 5 guys start all year long, and I'm seeing them start to gel. They did a lot of positive things in the game the other night, and those guys are about as mature and dependable guys as you will want to have on your football team. And you know, Ron Harge, Chicozi's played more snaps than anybody on our football team the last 2 years. Special teams, defense, never comes off the field. So he's made a tremendous contribution as well. And so these are good guys. They came here because they had the character that we were looking for and the athletic ability, and they've all contributed to our program.
Going back to Mo, I mean, do you remember obviously coaching against him at Nevada? Do you remember watching film and game planning against him? Do you remember what stood out to you back then?
I mean, one thing about Mo Camara is he's just a relentless player, and that's what makes him such a good pass rusher. Is I think they could call the old line for holding about half a dozen times every game. It seems like they have to hold him to stop him from getting to the quarterback. But that's what I saw in film. And then when I got here and I met him, you know, I went to Iowa and I played with a lot of Jersey guys from Jersey and Newark and Jersey City and all those towns, and so I kind of could relate to Mo, and I like him. He's a no-nonsense guy. He's a little rough around the edges, but he's a hard-playing defensive player, and I wish we had more like him. But you know, that was one of the things when I first got here. I spent a lot of time on the phone with him, recruiting him and talking to his parents, and it was probably the best recruiting job we did was convincing Mo to stay, and we're really happy. You know, I think he needs 2 or 3 sacks to be the all-time sack leader, and so you know, hopefully we can get him there.
Is he one of those guys, you know, as your career goes on, you'll kind of look back at the start here and you always think of him and kind of the impact he had?
There's no doubt. Yeah, there's no doubt. And you know, we always talk about planting trees you don't see. You know, as a senior, you know, you wonder how you can really contribute to the program. Well, you contribute by being a good example. You know, you show the younger players how to prepare. You show them how to practice. You show them. You know, I think playing with an injury is learned behavior. You know what I mean? I mean, you don't think you can until you see an older player fight through adversity and play when he's not 100%, you know. And I got to give Torrey Horton a lot of credit. I mean, most receivers that I've had have to be 100%. I've said this before, but he's not. And he's playing through it, and he's helping the team win, and he never said a word about it. And so that's what good players do. And so Mo's been a great example for our young guys that way.
Good.
Thanks, guys.